Hey, what's up, guys? It's Sana Sanani, a Tbilisi real estate investor. And today I want to go through Tbilisi residential real estate market overview. This was created by GALT and TAGGART, and we have the electronic version here today. And GALT and TAGGART is an investment banking platform tied to Bank of Georgia. They're very great if you want to do trading or long-term holding of stocks. They charge around $10 per deal that you close to buy a share. So technically, it's not good for swing traders. But if you are a long-term hodler of stocks and you buy in larger increments, then it's worth it and definitely secure. But anyway, we're not talking about stocks today. We're talking about my favorite topic, real estate. And they surprisingly have made a market report over what's been going on here the past 12 months. And it's quite interesting because they've got a lot of data, a lot of interesting data. And I'm going to go through it with you and let you know my thoughts and also let you know what I've been doing or what I've been thinking regarding these stats. So we can see here in May 23, apartment sales increased after reduction in the previous month. 3,650 apartments were sold in Tbilisi, up by 2% from last year and by 34%, 35% month over month. So from last month. Now, this growth was solely driven by primary sales, so this means developer properties, and it's increasing by 20% compared to last year to a record high of 1,650 apartments sold. This is excluding December 2021, so it's from 2022 till now. Meanwhile, secondary market posted decline both in new and old apartments, so minus 5.5% from last year and minus 12% also last year. So minus 12% old apartments year over year, minus 5.5% on the new apartments. So you could see that developer sales are rising over the past year and the secondary market is declining. And that's probably due to the price. Key drivers of sale growth were districts in the wide center of Tbilisi, Vashlijvari. That's interesting. I didn't know that. 180% year over year. Wow. That's a lot of sales that happened the past year. Kirtanisi is the area where lots of embassies are. 47.7% year over year. And Didube, 19%. Didube is where the Dinamo Stadium is and also a famous nightclub, Bassiani. Okay. So Didube, 19.1%. Interesting. Markedly, while share of Vashlijvari is low in total sales, it almost tripled year over year in May 23 to 4.6%. Other key characteristics of the market remained unchanged: dominance of medium-sized apartments, 51 to 80 meter, and mid-scale to upscale segments, $800 to $1,800 per square meter in sales. So this is something we've already known and I've talked about, that the little ones are always in demand. Actually, anything little than this, you can barely find at a good price anymore. So yeah, 51 to 80 meter is still the one that's the highest demand. Prices. In May 23, asking prices increased by 26.8% year over year in US dollar and 8.2% in GEL, but remained flat month over month, primary and secondary markets combined. Okay. On primary market, developers' average asking price in Tbilisi was $1,112 per square meter, up by 27% from last year, with Vake and Touchminda on top of the list. So these are off-plan properties. Every time I say primary, it's off-plan properties, and the price is increased. Now, I don't always like to buy off-plan properties. I actually avoid it unless it's ready, or at least 2 months until it's ready, and they allow us to start renovating inside. Partially because I make my money from real estate. I don't make my money somewhere else and store it in real estate. If I had a very high salary, I could perhaps start thinking about putting a portion on off-plan properties in hopes that when it's done and completed, I could either sell it higher or rent it, and I didn't have to put all the cash down. But what I do is I work with the banks. I mean, I'm a banker, and I bank on real estate. And so technically, I wouldn't want to put a portion down and then borrow from the bank and then pay every month to the developer. I want income straight away. Market size in May 23, Tbilisi residential real estate market size surged by 16.6% year over year to US dollars $243 million, and primary market contributing the most. That went up 25%. Hold on, guys. Let me just turn the AC on a little bit. I hope this doesn't distract the video. Just if I was gonna continue that way, I was probably gonna cut the video a bit short. Okay, rent. Let's go to what everyone's been waiting to see. Real estate rents increased by 44.9% compared to last year in US dollar and 23.7% year over year in gel. Why you see this is a bit different is because the lari fluctuated and it got so strong. So that's why you see that the lari is less than the dollar. While rents remain high, pace of growth has been on a downward trajectory since February 2023. And yes, that's true. Out of all the apartments I own, I have 3 vacancies right now, something that's never been done before. Usually it takes 4 weeks. I have one apartment available for 2 months now. And in COVID time, that was unheard of. I just needed 4 weeks. So now one of them is available for 8 weeks. And I guess that's a lot from the oversupply of apartments and the prices that are still high. They're slowly going down. And we'll go look into that now. As I said earlier, primary sales are real estate sold directly by construction companies and developers. Secondary sales in new projects means construction permits issued after 2013. So if we want to call an apartment a new project or new building, we say 2013 and after. Now, secondary sales, is owner to owner, owner to buyer. Secondary sales in old projects means anything before 2013. All right. So let's zoom into here and focus on this. So we're looking in the thousands of units. So when we say 1.1, that's 1,100 units. Let's see how much real estate sales were up by 2% year over year or 34% month over month due to low base. In May 2023, 1,700 units for developer properties were sold, 900 units were sold in new projects, and 1,100 were sold in old projects. As you see in the very beginning, we started out with, still relatively is developer sales. Looks like they beat every month. Developer sales were the highest in demand. If you're a developer, that's a signal for you. Um, and here is where I've been liked. I've liked to buy here in the blue zone here. New projects, 2013 and above. Technically, we've got people buying old properties, renovating them. Then we've got people who make their money elsewhere and store them in off-plan properties here. And we've got the middle, which I've been focusing on because I've been doing quick fix and flips. I mean, not a quick flip. I don't sell it, just a quick cosmetic repair. And then I quickly put it up for rent. Over the last year, I've bought developer properties, primary properties, but again, they were complete. I bought in 2 different projects. Both projects were complete. I started renovating right away. And from the 5 units I bought, now 3 are rented, 2 are under construction. So thank God these new ones, they are rented. Now, let's go move over here. Real estate sales by size. So again, medium-sized 51 to 80 meter apartment sales were most prevalent in May 2023. Okay, so we've got May 2021, 2022, 2023. Not so much has changed, but as you see, it's been in demand for the past 3 years. 45% of the sales are 51 to 80 square meter. So where I've been buying, for example, I've bought 109 meter, 97 meter. So I'm in the large apartments here, this area. I'm in this area, 20%, 19%, and 20% of the total sales were in this range. Technically, I like to buy 2 bedrooms, preferably 2 bathrooms. Why did this not turn off? I'm boiling. Oops. Okay, we can. Um, Hold on. Very large units, 150 to 250 square meter. That's usually. You see, I've always said apartments above 100 meter is hard to sell. Now it's becoming more common to sell apartments above 100 meter. But when you reach 150 to 250 meter, it's just 2.4% of the sales. You see, so something good to know if you're a fix and flipper. If you want to buy to sell, I would say you should focus around this area, 26 to 50 meter, 80 to 51 to 80 meter. Sure, there are exceptions. If you want to buy a huge large property and you know that you could split it and turn it into four of these units, 26 to 50 meter, by all means, that's a good deal. In fact, when you're going for very large properties, your the price per square meter is usually less, a little bit less in these days. Now, real estate sales by segments. Increased prices lifted up share of mid-scale, upscale segments significantly. So mid-scale, $800 to $1,200. Upscale, $1,200 to $1,800. This is my recommended range to purchase properties, and it's usually on the lower spectrum. Over here, this is okay. As you see, upscale, I don't know, King David, Tbilisi Garden. Very few of the total sales were allocated or given for these upper scale apartments. Budget apartments, $500 to $800. I don't know where they found them. I can see they found them a long time ago. More, May 2021. I had bought one, $600 per square meter, and I sold it after I renovated it. Um, but you see, they're decreasing. It's very hard to find apartments in this range. And the mid-scale, $800 to $1,200, are increasing, and so are the upscale. So the sales are increasing, as you can see. Even here, in 2021, 1.7% of the total sales were upper to upscale apartments. Then it became 2.2. Then it became 4.9. So what I can tell you is that the demand is rising for Tbilisi real estate whatsoever, whether you are buying whichever scale. But the availability of the small ones are decreasing. All right, or maybe they're raising their prices. Maybe they bought it at this price and they're selling it now at this price. I mean, I know a few people who've done that. Let's move forward. Just this AC is a problem. Never gonna do it in a car again. Um, at least not in this time of the year. So we can move forward. Monthly real estate market size in millions of dollars. In May 2023, the total market size of apartments sold in Tbilisi stood at $243 million, up 16.6% year over year and 37 to 9% month on month. Primary market size increased the most. The developers again, 25.4% year on year. Yeah, the developers were struggling in COVID time. There were lack of demand. People were buying the secondary sales, and now just all of a sudden, they're doing very well. It's likely you're gonna go visit a developer project, pick let's say 5 units, come back in 2 3 days to buy all five, and three of them are gone. So just realize that if you are going to buy a developer project, don't walk out of that room without putting a deposit if you like it. Don't say, I'll think about it. This is no longer the market where you're like, oh, nothing's going to be sold in time. In 2 days, the next guy will come and put $1,000. I lost 3 Riverview apartments like that. So yeah, and they one of them bought it and just increased the price by $300 per square meter and sold it without doing anything. And the other two are renovating it to rent it. So I missed it because I thought we're still in the market that I was used to. Competition is high here. Now it's higher. Um, so we've already been through this in here. By the way, I'll put a link where you could download this and see this and print it. I mean, it's very important to have the printed version. You could study it in different areas and different times and show it to your friends, clients, whoever. Real estate sales by districts, as always. Okay, so we've got this is May 2021, 2022, 2023. We can see a huge increase in Sabortalo, especially from 2021. We can see Samgori, Didiromi, Gildani, Didobi. Okay, this is where I've bought. This is where I bought this year, and I bought in Sabortalo. So I'm in this area, part of this group and this group. And in 2022, I bought in Vake. I was here and here. In 2021, I bought in Vake. Chugureti, I've bought here. So these are the places I've invested in: Vake, Chugureti, Sabortalo, and Isani. Just the correct parts of Isani. By correct, I mean near the river, close to the Freedom Square, strategically located, not so complicated to get to the main road. That's the part I like. You could find two developers there. One is by BP Group and one is Archie Diromi. These two are the best buildings. It's near Carrefour, near the metro, near McDonald's. So I like that place a lot. Let me pause this because I want to get my AC in in the right order. Okay, I'm back. The reason I'm by my co-working space, but the reason I'm not doing it there is because it's super packed today, super busy, no rooms available, and everyone's doing calls outside, and I don't want to interfere or distract you by hearing other people talk and having their own meetings. I thought I'd find a quiet space. If the noise of the AC bothers you, deal with it because over there it's gonna be a different thing, worse, lots of noise. So Sabortalo, as you see, is the most favored place. Romi, because of all the students, medical students, lots of students there, high demand. They're coming here for 4 to 6 years. So that's a nice place to rent, but the prices are going higher and higher here as well. Vaque, you can see, is the least amount of square meters from between these top three, partially because Vaque is expensive, and it's gotten more expensive the past year. Now, technically what we can see between 20 to 40% growth in sales, in prices. uh, you could see this is the asking price, which is what the seller wants. This is the sales price, the actual price that's sold. So asking prices were up 26.8% year on year. However, gel appreciation eased pressure for customers, and it was actually 8.2% year on year if you're calculating in gel. So technically, if you were making your money in gel, uh, it didn't affect you that much as if you were bringing the dollars here. You were getting less lorry, and the low, the strongest the lorry was this year was 2.46, I believe. Now it's 2.62. So it is getting weaker, and the dollar is getting stronger. When I first moved here in 2018, it was 2.65, between 2.65 and 2.75. I watched it go to 3, 3.2, 3.4 during Corona time and the panic. Then, after this whole situation with Ukraine and Russia, uh, the lari got stronger because of how much dollars came in the country. So we're cooling off the highest through the strengths of the lari. Now it's kind of easing down. I think some people think it's going to hit four. Some people think lari will be hit four lari against the dollar. Some say two lari will be $1. I would I don't have a crystal ball, but if I had to guess, from the 5 years I've lived here, I would think we're going to probably be 2.6 to 3.2 and dance around this area. So real estate asking prices on primary markets, the asking prices of developers by districts. There was a double digit year on year growth in primary market apartment asking prices in every district of Tbilisi. So every developer raised their price. And Vake had a 23% growth in price, Sabortalo 30. They're all, again, in the vicinity of 20 to 40%. And yeah, this is these colors again, 2021, 2022, 2023. So the highest asking prices were in Vake from all districts this year. Then Sabortalo, then Kirtanisi. These three districts are very nice districts, by the way. People have already settled down. The roads are nice. There's lots of like restaurants and things to do there. So I would guess that Kirtanisi will be more up and coming soon. It's gonna be probably maybe second, and Sabortalo could possibly be first, and Vake would be third. Partially because the asking prices in Vake are increasing, and as we know, the demand is in the mid-scale to upscale apartments. I would be I will do another one of these and see if there was any changes. Uh, but particularly, I'm thinking about by next year. Isani will be up and coming. I think this will probably also move up. Uh, Probably this 900 will end up being 1,300. All right. Let's look at figure 9. Real estate weighted average sales price by type. US dollar per square meter. In May 2023, sales price increased most on a secondary market in new projects, 18.9% year on year. So let's look at May 2021. In the primary, we've seen an increase in May 2021. Secondary new projects, huge increase from 910 to 1,151. In the secondary old projects, you've always got these designers and fix and flippers who are buying old projects. So you've got to see where you fit into the category. If you are making high salary in bits and you don't have cash laying around, you could buy off plan properties. If you want to just have minimal work, quickly put it out on rent, maybe just do cosmetic repair. We call it the makeup of real estate, like changing the curtains, changing the sofa, maybe the kitchen, and just removing the wallpaper. And if you are a fix and flipper, or you want to really get a good deal per square meter and do the work, 3 to 6 months of renovation, you'd fall into this category. And as you see, in all categories, we've seen an increase in sales. Sorry, increase in sales price per square meter. Hmm. Now, yeah, so the highest demand right now is in the secondary new projects, 2013 and above. Let's go look at table 2, real estate weighted average sales prices by districts. Sales prices remained in the highest in Tachminda and Vake districts. So this is where it's most expensive. Tachminda would be Rustaveli, Tachminda Mountain. It has a perverted connotation to it. Touch me in the mountain. That's how the expats spell it. Tachminda, touch me in the park, touch me in the park. So the highest demand, Tachminda, Vake. Where I've been investing again is Vake, Sabortalo, Chugureti, Isani, and very soon this year, Didube. And but this is a huge property we're buying. It's even above 250 square meter. I'll talk about it later. For now, it's a commercial secret until the deal is done. Residential rents. This is very important. Figure 10, real estate asking rent price index. Real estate rents remained elevated 45% year on year, but growth pace has been on a downward trajectory since February 2023, reflecting base effect. Now, the rent index in dollars is what I'm looking at, and I can see from January 2021 to May 2023, the price has spiked. This was during the whole conflict with Russia and Ukraine. It spiked. We had a huge amount of people, you could see in my past videos, arrive in panic, just wanting to settle down. Airbnbs were full. If people moved in an Airbnb for 3 days, they were not able to extend. They were forced to go into long-term properties. The prices of Airbnb and long-term properties were the same. So if before you could get, let's say, $600 on a long term and $1,200 if you do Airbnb for 30 days, it became $1,200 long term, $1,200 Airbnb. It didn't make a difference. It kind of became the same. And I'm a fan of long term rents. So I was getting Airbnb returns on long term rents, which was fantastic. But now we're on a downward trajectory. And you might be wondering, well, where are we going? Um, we're not going to go back to the previous prices. If something was 1,500, now it's 1,200. If something was 1,200, it's now 900. If something was 900, it's probably now 600, 700. But it doesn't get any less. Before we were renting one bedrooms for $350, $400, and now it's 600 and above, 600 to $1,000 in the average. You still got these expensive one bedroom properties in King David, for example, but that's the drop, and I don't think it's gonna get any lower. Maybe by another $100, $200, meaning your $1,500 property is now $1,000. I don't think it's gonna break 1,000. There's still high demand. There's still people moving in here. There's still people renewing. Terminating their leases and joining or signing new agreements, and they're happy with the $500 discount. They're not gonna try to make the 1,500 that's now 1,000 or 1,200. They're not going to try to get 800 for it. There's still demand. This is crazy. You see 112% growth, and that's just crazy. And as you see, it's dropping. So it dropped by 50% on average, and I would say maybe next year the figure would be 25%, 30%, but not lower. Real estate rental yield and deposit rates. Real estate and GIL deposit yields the same return since November 2022. So the rental yield was from 6 to 7% 2021. It went to 11 to 9 to 11%. That's pretty much accurate. Now, if you were depositing GEL in the bank, the rates didn't change so much. But it's interesting to see that you can get a yield that's almost the same as a real estate yield in Lari. But look, if you're going to put Lari in the bank, they're going to lend it to people like us, real estate investors. So it depends which game you want to play. I'm in the game of real estate because I like the wealth generation factors. Real estate appreciates, there's tax benefits, there's the loan pay down which your tenant pays. And there's the cash flow, which is your profit after all expenses paid. So you don't get that in the depositing GEL in the bank. You will get a nice fixed income, but the currency is volatile. Real estate is not so volatile. I mean, if, in this case, it went up, but it barely goes down. It only goes up around the world. Now, my favorite figure, figure 12, real estate rental yields by countries. 2022, Georgia had the highest rental yields against Armenia, Lithuania, Latvia, Italy, Azerbaijan, Turkey, Spain, Greece, Estonia, France, and Germany. We've got French investors here, we've got German investors here, Turkish investors, Spanish investors, Italian investors, like my personal clients, and Lithuanian investors. Oh, and Armenian investors. So look, they're investing in Georgia, and well, if you could see why they're investing in Georgia. Look at France, for example. One of my partners is from France. He has a 4% return in France, and he's been investing heavily here. We're partnered in two properties together, and he has three on his own. Total, he has five properties. And well, look, if you want to know what's that doing for him, it's perfect, 10.7%. He has a little bit more than that, though. Annual inflation. These are the market fundamentals. Annual inflation reduced to 1.5% in May 2023. All right. US gel exchange rate. Now, this is something interesting. So, in 2019, it was at 2.6 against the dollar, 2.6 gel. And I watched it go to 3.2, back down, and it hit the resistance area 3.4, and it went and corrected back down to 3.2 and 3 over the course of these months. Now we're at 2.53. Now, if you ask me where, I said we're probably going to be around 2.8 and 3.2. We're probably going to retest 3 and see where it goes then. The source is National Bank of Georgia. This is super accurate. And Consumer Confidence Index. Confidence Index continued increasing after a slight drop, indicating higher spending expectations. Okay. Wage distribution in Georgia. Okay. So we've got higher salaries now, 2,400 to 7,200 gel. And the proportion of individuals who are eligible to apply for a mortgage has been on the rise. Below 2,400 gel, there's been a decline. I would probably say they're getting promoted. Source Revenue Service. Mortgage interest rates. Look, it doesn't matter what the mortgage interest rate is. The mortgage interest rate has been the cheapest it has been in the last centuries. All right. Money is free right now. Technically, it's so cheap. So, doesn't matter. Here, you're not paying high service charges like you do in developer buildings or other buildings, normal buildings in across the world. But here, we're calculating like 30 to 80 lari per month on rent, not 1,000 lari a month or 500 lari a month, like you see in places such as Dubai. So it doesn't really matter if the mortgage interest rate increases. This is negotiable. Here, you can fix interest rates uh, by 6 months basis. You can't fix it for 30 years, 20 years. Otherwise, the banks would probably collapse. Uh, so they fix it 6 months. And according to the world economy and the Euro Libor rate, they check 6 months basis whether they should increase your interest rate or decrease. Usually they don't increase, they just let it renew, or they decrease by a little bit or increase by a little bit. um, it was euro was 5 to 6% when I joined here, and the dollar was 6 to 7%. Now it's euro is 6 to 7%, and the dollar is 8 to 9%, 7.6 to 9%. But property still cash flow if you know what you're doing. If you buy right, if you get a good rate at the bank, if you get a good property, you're still cash flowing. You can still find deals. There are still deals to be made. So it doesn't matter about the interest rate. You're going to be changing it every 6 months, and it's always negotiable throughout your 10, 15-year term. Now that's share of mortgages and total sales value. Mortgages financed 22.5% of the sales in April 2023. Now here's the share of mortgage financed. Here's sales with mortgage, sales without mortgage. Okay. Mm-hmm. Sales with mortgage. They're decreasing. And this is what's going to happen anyway, because as interest rates go up all over the world, the people who are tempted to buy real estate using the mortgage decreases. There's less buyers. And eventually that's going to drop the asking prices. Not by much, I would say 5 to 15%. 15% being very good, depending on what his asking price was to begin with. If you want to know if you're buying a property priced well, just get the bank to evaluate it for you. If you want to pay a private evaluator, it costs 350 lari. If you get the bank, I mean, if you're planning to buy a with a mortgage, the bank is going to send an evaluator anyway, because they're not going to want to invest in an expensive property, and this is the protection you get, because they're not going to let you make a mistake of buying an overpriced property. Technically, the bank saves you. They don't let you walk into crazy uh, expensive properties. Construction costs, machinery went up in Joe. Generally, what I could tell you is that construction costs did go up, because when the lorry, let's go back here, when the lorry went to 3.4, all the materials that were priced at this vicinity increased their prices here. But as it dropped, the prices remained. The merchants weren't sure if we're going to go down or go up. So they kept their prices as if it was 3.4 lari per dollar. So we had expensive materials and weaker dollar. So for foreign investors, it was quite difficulty. Now prices have dropped. I wouldn't say it reflects the new current valuation against the dollar. I would say that the prices are still as if we are at 3.2. So you've got the currency strengthening 20-30% against the dollar, and you've got the price becoming more expensive, handwork and construction, by 20-30%. So technically prices went up for materials and handwork. um, Construction permits. All right, this is developer stuff. I'm not a developer. It's not so interesting for me to see this, but I'll just pause right here for those that would like to take a look. So we're nearly at the end of the video. If you have any questions, you could drop by on the comments below, or you could even drop by at our co-working space. I'm usually here. If not, you could ask the reception when I would be arriving here, and they could call me and let me know you're there. If you're here for the day, I'd probably catch you. If not, I'd let you know when I would be there, and I'd be happy to meet you. So generally, this is exciting stuff. People wanted stats, people wanted numbers, and not just opinions. And this today was just that. We went through the numbers. I will leave the link. And if this was interesting and valuable for you, you can subscribe, turn on the bell notification, not to miss any videos. I don't do it very often, but I do it at least 2-3 videos a year, if not more. And yeah, I think we've covered everything. If you've bought a property, let me know where you've bought it. Let me know how much you paid for it. Let me know how it's been going for you. Have you rented it? Are you living in it? Did you profit? Did you take a bank, or were you a cash buyer? Or are you interested to buy more? Let me know in the comments below. It's Sana Sanani. It's been a pleasure to be here with you. Take care.